Now, we talk a lot about Bethesda's incompetence on this channel. It's one of my favourite subjects. It would be my specialist on Mastermind. But when it comes to being a publisher, the company has very little room to screw up, especially when it's publishing games from such studios as id Software, Machine Games, etc. And the company had one really easy job to do this weekend: sell Doom Eternal. That's all it had to do. I mean, the game will practically sell itself because it's Doom Eternal. All the publisher had to do was publish. And that was too much to ask. Oh no! Oh no. So here's the story, here's Bethesda's latest grand cock-up. It managed to break its own DRM. DRM that nobody wanted in the game in the first place. Bethesda put that in, and then Bethesda broke it, making Doom Eternal easier to pirate than ever. Moments after Doom Eternal launched, people found that the Bethesda launcher version had a copy of the game without any DRM whatsoever. There was literally just an executable file there. Just there, waiting to be taken and shared across the realm. So what Bethesda's managed to do here is, well, it's quite marvellous. They've managed to get themselves a shit ton of bad press and bad will for using Denuvo, and then they fucked up the benefit of Denuvo by not actually using it. Oh my god. Bethesda! Todd! What are you doing, Todd? It's all your fault. It's all his fault. And it's just amazing. Accrue a bunch of negative PR and then don't do the thing you got the negative PR for. I mean, that just screams classic Bethesda. Vintage Bethesda. Funnily enough, the worst aspects of Doom Eternal, which is a very, 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 very good game, all involve Bethesda. The company's influence is really, in my experience, the only thing holding Doom Eternal back. As I said in my Gimpressions video of the game, the very first thing Doom Eternal told me was that Bethesda.net was down and it couldn't connect me. That was the very first thing. That was the game's opening gambit, the first impression I got. And requiring that online account to do anything online with Doom Eternal is a frigging annoyance in the first place. No one likes Bethesda.net, Bethesda. I'm not saying that everyone hates it, but nobody fucking cares but you. Bethesda.net could close tomorrow. I mean, it was basically closed throughout Doom Eternal's launch, and no one would care. Bethesda.net, if it went away tomorrow, no one, Bethesda, I guarantee you this, no one firing up one of your games will say, oh, where did Bethesda.net go? I miss that. Fucking tools. And of course, if you didn't take the opportunity to pirate Doom Eternal on PC, well, you've got Denuvo in it. People, there's another thing, if it went away tomorrow, people wouldn't mourn it. Literally only game publishers like Denuvo, and if only game publishers like something, chances are it's rotten to the core. But let's talk about my favourite part of this whole story, and it's, well, technically it's not part of the story. It is in fact a story about the story we're talking about. It was published on Ars Technica. It's just a report of what happened. It's headlined, Bethesda apparently broke its own Denuvo protection for Doom Eternal. That's pretty much the gist of what happened. But about halfway through the story, Kyle Orland talks about the history of games having their DRM broken by publishers. That section is headlined, these things happen. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, let's have a look at this, just to, you know, see the other publishers that have had this mistake happen. It sounds common. The only example given is Rage 2 from last year, published by Bethesda. That's the example of this thing having happened before. Yeah, these things happen If you're fucking Bethesda, I'm not saying other publishers haven't uploaded DRM-free versions of games that they'd put DRM into, but that's 2 id Software games in a row. Bethesda must really want id's games pirated for some reason. But even though it wants them pirated, it still wants Denuvo in it so that you're angry at Bethesda for its anti-piracy measures that it's not using. Until they notice that they fucked up and then it uses it. So... Rage 2's DRM was officially taken out very soon after launch, presumably because Denuvo's protections are optimum at launch. Denuvo claims that its DRM secures you all of your launch day sales, which debatable, but in any case, Bethesda had undermined its own ability to get the most out of Denuvo with Rage 2, pretty much like how it's done with Doom Eternal, because Bethesda. Now, there are some theories trying to explain how Bethesda could have done this on purpose. Some initially thought it was a joke version of the game designed to trap and make fun of pirates. We've seen this with some games before. Cracked versions work up to a point, just enough to have wasted the player's time before the rest of it is unplayable. Some others think there might be a rogue operative at Bethesda deliberately undermining Bethesda's DRM by offering these cracked versions, sneaking it in to make it look like an accident. Hell, maybe it's a producer's situation and Bethesda has some sort of tax scam running, who the fuck knows? Well over 24 hours since the game became available to the world, it seems unlikely that this was done on purpose, but then again it would seem unlikely that one publisher could screw up its DRM the exact same way twice. Until you remember the publisher we're talking about is Bethesda. Something is wrong at that company, and I can only assume in good faith, I'm not being sarcastic, I assume in genuine good faith, that plenty of competent people work at Bethesda. Plenty of people who are good, if not great, at their jobs. But I don't know if this is managerial, if this is some structural, some organizational problem with that company. But there is a problem. When you look at the company's storied, many years long history of fucking up, which we have done on this channel, it really puts into perspective how consistently incompetent Bethesda is as a company. If it's not being done on purpose, something is seriously wrong there.